If you want your business to be found locally, you'll no longer be using Google My Business to do it. That's right, Google just replaced Google My Business with Google Business Profile. So what's that mean for your existing Google My Business listing? Or if you're a new business, how do you get set up with a brand new Google Business Profile? I'm going to cover it all right here in this video. I'll explain the move from Google My Business to Google Business Profile, what's different now, and how to use it to both list your new business and manage an existing listing, even if you made it using that super outdated Google My Business. Because here's the thing, every small business, especially local businesses, still needs to list themselves on Google so that you can show up right here in the map listings and in those organic listings underneath it too. And we used to do this through Google My Business, but since they like to shake things up every few years, just as we're getting the hang of it, we now not only get a name change, but a minor tweak to how we use it too. So in short, Google My Business is being broken up into two distinct parts. So bigger businesses with multiple locations are pretty much going to continue to use the current Google My Business experience, except it's now going to be renamed Business Profile Manager. Pretty much going to be the same experience on a dedicated website like we're used to using now with Google My Business. But then smaller businesses with just one location are being transitioned over to Google Business Profile, which is still going to remain largely the same, but how you claim your listing and then edit your listing is going to be slightly different. And don't worry, if you have a listing you already set up through Google My Business, you don't need to redo it in the new system. Everything is going to be, carried over, but this is all meant to be a simplification of the whole process. So if you're ready, let's just jump into the computer so I can show you how to do it. Okay, so here we are just at google.com, and the way you're going to want to claim your listing is you're simply going to type in the business address. So I'm going to go ahead and pop mine in here. And any instance where it pops up. Okay, so I'm just going to search on that address, and then you're going to go up to Maps. Then over here on this left sidebar, you're just going to go down to Add Your Business. And here's where you can start building out your business profile, starting with your business name. So for the purposes here, I'm going to do a fictitious photo booth rental business. So I might call it Black Box Photo Booth Rental. Now I do want to point out here something. So this is kind of a pro tip. Basically, having the keywords in your business name will help you rank. However, I want to be very clear about this. Google doesn't want you including keywords in your business name if that's not actually part of your business name. So my point here is, if you're at a point in your business where you're still coming up with the name, rather than calling this business something like Black Box Studios or Black Box Photography, you might want to be very specific in exactly what you offer, because that way it does give you a big boost when people would be typing in photo booth rental. So definitely worth doing that, or possibly even thinking of maybe doing a legal name change of your business if you're kind of in those beginning stages, and you can do that. So, all right, so moving on to business category. Here you're going to start kind of typing in something, and they're going to give you a bunch of options. So I'm just going to start typing in photo booth. So I'm actually not going to use photo booth, and here's why. This is a really specific example, but it does get you thinking about, trying to think about your business in the right way. So photo booth would refer to just a standalone photo booth that's out somewhere, that's your business. That's not what we have here though. If it's a photo booth rental company, it's really going to be more of a photography service. So I'm going to choose photography service, but a lot of times there's going to be multiple options that you could choose. So really the name of the game here is to choose the one that you think is the most appropriate for your business if you've got multiple options. Also, maybe the thing that people would be searching for the most. So in our case, I think photography service definitely fits the bill more than these others. So I'm going to choose that and then click on next. Now here you've got a choice, you kind of have a choice, but it's kind of going to be dictated by your circumstances. So what they're asking here is this a business address that people would show up to, like a store or an office. So I think a lot of you watching this are probably more work from home, in which case you really wouldn't want your address to show up here. So I'm going to choose no for the purposes of this. But if you're a storefront, if you're a restaurant, if you're the kind of office where you wouldn't mind foot traffic just popping in, then you would do yes. I'm going to click on next. So here's where you can specify where you actually serve customers if you travel out or if you just work from home and it's all remote. But I do want to be very clear about this part. So a lot of people think that typing in as many areas as possible is going to help them rank in all those areas. That is not the case, unfortunately. One of the biggest ranking factors of showing up in the maps or not is just how close the person is to your actual address. So I could type in every zip code in America here, or just choose, I think you can actually just choose the whole country, right? Yeah, so you can choose a whole country. You could choose worldwide if you wanted to, or you can choose a state, a city, zip codes, you name it. I'm just gonna type in Chicago here, or actually Chicagoland, where this would show to people that I could travel out to any of the suburbs in the Chicagoland area versus, being rigid, I only serve Chicago. So I'm going to choose Chicagoland here. And that's basically going to put a map, as you see right here in this little illustration. When people are searching for your business, it'll basically have a map drawn of the areas that you serve so they know if you'll go to them or not. And you could choose more cities here, like let's say we would travel out to the Milwaukee area or anywhere in Ohio or something. We could type in more of those here. And then once we're happy with our selections, we just choose next. Now here you got to put in your phone number and your web address. So I'm just going to type in that and then click on next. Okay, so here is now when we have to actually take the step of verifying our listing. And the way we do that is they send out a postcard to your address. Because otherwise, think about it, if you could just say your address was anywhere and show up anywhere. So this is really how they verify that you are who you say you are. But just so you know, if you've said that you didn't want your address to be seen, they are not going to publish this address. This is literally just for them to send that postcard. They have the info, they don't pass it on to anybody else. Okay, and once you've got your address in here, just click on next. And sometimes they give you options here, like I've heard of being able to be verified by a phone number, so like a text sometimes, but that's pretty rare. Usually it is the postcard. So I'm just gonna type in my contact name here so it'll send to the right person at the right address. And then just make sure your address looks good and everything's accurate, and then click on mail. And then that's gonna trigger them actually mailing that postcard out to you. And here it says you're gonna get your postcard with the verification code on it in about 5 days. So you're just gonna wanna look out for it and then click on continue. Cool, so even without verifying, there's still quite a bit of work we can do here to kind of get our listing up and running before we verify it. So the first thing we wanna do here is choose all the different services that we provide. And it's gonna come pre-populated with some based on the business type that you said. So I'm gonna probably get rid of headshots and portraits. Since this is a photo booth rental, I'm picturing it's more for events and weddings, that kind of thing. So I'll do events and parties. And let's see, show more. Yeah, wedding and engagement, I'll do that. And then custom service. If you can't find what you want, you can definitely create your own here. So I'm gonna type in photo booth rental and then next. All right, so here's where we add our business hours. Let's say you were Monday through Friday. I'm gonna just choose all these. And then you just pop in your, let's say 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then you just do that for all these. And then once you have it the way you want it, just click on next. And here it gives you the option to actually add messaging so that people can find you in Google Maps and then message you right from there for free. So I think that's something that anybody should opt in for. So I'm gonna click on next. And I thought it was gonna bring us to something to set that up, but I guess that comes later. I think you have to actually be verified before that can actually work. So now they're just taking us to the next step, which is to add the business description. So here's where you wanna really make good use of this space and use persuasive language that talks about your benefits, not just all the logistics and the facts. So I might type in something like, Blackbox provides photo booth rentals for weddings, corporate events, bat mitzvahs. If it's a celebration, we'll bring the fun. We come with all the backdrops, props, and accessories to set any tone from high-end sophisticated to wild and crazy. So the reason I'm reading that is just to kind of show you the kind of stuff that you should be including, right? We've got the keyword here, photo booth rentals, which is a little bit important. You definitely want that in there just so people know that you are the company that they're looking for. Keywords don't really play a huge role here in being found, but why not use them in the space? It couldn't hurt, right? And we talk about the different use cases, weddings, corporate events, and then we bring up a benefit here, how we bring the fun and we bring the backdrops. We basically come prepared. You're making the case for why someone would want to work with you rather than, a lot of people would just say the cities they serve and just, we do weddings, we do corporate events. Very dry. You want to be a little more persuasive than that. So once you get it the way you want it, we're just going to click on next. And now we can add in photos. And I highly recommend not skipping this step. So I'm just going to click on add photos. And I've got a bunch here. I'm just going to drag them all over onto the stage. So you just have all your photos in JPEG format, and you can just drag them one by one or batch do them, whatever works for you. So I've got a logo here. We'll set that later. And then we've got all these other photos. For now, I'm just going to click on next. And this is all about advertising on Google. I'm going to skip this. This is kind of a whole other video. So I'm just going to click skip for now. Your business profile is almost ready. Continue. Cool. So it's telling us now that we're still pending verification. We don't have that yet. Let's go ahead and finish this profile out as much as we can before we get that postcard. So the first place I want to take you to is over here on the sidebar. We're going to go to info and see how right here we have photography service. We've basically selected our primary category here. However, I'm bringing in the pro tips in this video, and you don't want to just choose one category. You also want some secondary categories. So I'm going to click on the little pencil icon next to it to edit that. And if you wanted to change your primary category, you would do that here, but we're just going to click on add another category. I'm just going to type in photo and see what else pops up. So I'm going to do photo booth as a secondary category. And then photographer. Add another category. Now maybe something about weddings. Wedding photographer. Okay, there we go. We're not quite a wedding photographer, but it fits in the category. I'll do another wedding thing because I saw wedding service. I think that fits. And then maybe event. Okay, and I'm actually not seeing anything for that, so I'll just X out of there. But I'm pretty happy with all these selections as secondary categories, so let's click on apply. See, for photo booth, it's giving us trouble. Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about before. So sometimes something will not be available to you because for this, they're saying you need to have a location that appears on the map. So let's just get rid of photo booth, click on apply. Now we're still under info. I want to direct your attention to a few more places. So attributes is one. So I'm going to click on that. So basically, this is going to depend on your business type, and they give you these different signifiers that you can use if they apply to you, which will appear sometimes in the Google Map listings. So, if we identified as Black owned or veteran owned or woman owned, we might want to identify that here. And LGBTQ friendly, yeah, if it's a wedding business, I would definitely check that, and then click on apply. And then opening date. So the reason you want that is because a lot of times people don't check this at all. And then it just says, 1 year in business. And you don't want that necessarily. And if you're putting this up for the first time, you may be new, but as time goes on, this way it'll allow you to be shown as, 5 years in business, 7 years in business, which just looks better and better as time goes on. So I'm just gonna do 2021. Let's do November. That's when I'm making this. Let's just say November 15th. All right. And if we hadn't already added photos, we would do that over here. You can also do it over here on the left sidebar. Okay, so moving on from info, let's go down to services next. You really want to make sure that all of your services are listed and filled out completely. This is really going to help you be found when people are searching for specific services that you may offer. So it's giving you all these options for under each of the main categories we picked. So this is our main category. And these are our secondary categories, and under each of them has all these different services. So you just want to click on each one. You want to do a brief description about it. They give you 300 characters. You don't have to use all of that, but just make sure you've described the service completely. And then you want to do a price. I highly recommend at least doing a, range, from, I don't know, $500. And, that's basically like a starting price at that point. That's really going to help people decide if you're for them or not. And once you're done, click save. And you're just going to want to do this for all the rest of these as well. You want to make sure your profile is as filled out as completely as possible. That's really going to help you in ranking. Okay, so now we're going to go over to photos. So we already uploaded a bunch of them, but we want to now specify a few for sure. So we want to specify our logo and our cover photo that's going to show up as the main photo when people do a search for your business. So let's go ahead and choose photo here. And if we didn't already have our logo file, we would drag the file right here, but we already have it under albums. And I've got it right here. And then we just want to make sure we've got the whole thing selected. I highly recommend if you're doing a logo, it fit very nicely in a square because that's actually how they display it. So I'm going to click on set logo and then cover. I'm going to choose the cover photo as well. And here it's not giving us the option of in the album. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag it back over again. I'll just drag that over. It's not the best picture in the world, but ideally it's a stock photo, but ideally you'd have one that really represents your business the best as you possibly can. And the next thing we want to do, now this is really important, and this is something that not most people on YouTube talk about when they go over this, but you want to go up to posts. And I'm going to click on create your first post. What I highly recommend you do is create an evergreen offer that you can basically advertise. So when people type in your business name, when that side panel comes up on the right side of the screen with all of your business information, it's gonna have an offer for them. So I want you to think about what is the thing you could either give away for free to bring people in for the first time, or at least a really good discount that's gonna incentivize people to wanna work with you for the first time. And these used to be really clunky because the offers, all these posts used to last for 7 days, so you'd have to keep redoing it. But the cool thing, and I think that is still the case with, what's new and events, or at least with what's new rather, but with offers, you can specify how long it's good for. So for instance, if I wanted to drag this out until, November 24th, 2025, I could do that. So then you just want to give your offer a title, like, buy one, get one, buy 2 hours, get 2 free. And then under more details, here's where you'd want to really talk about the specifics of the offer. Just make sure it's very specific. And then if you have any terms and conditions, like any limitations on this or whatever, you'd put that in here. If you have a coupon code, you can put that in. Or if you just have a link to a landing page, which is what I might recommend you do. So on your website, you'd create a specific page all about that offer where they can read all about it. They can click through to schedule it. How you handle it's up to you, but we have one more step, and that is to add a photo. So I'm going to click there. I'm just going to go to our albums and choose one that I've already got. Right here, upload photos. Cool, so what you've got here now is just a really good business driver for anyone coming to visit you for the first time. So I'm gonna click on publish. Okay, so I misspoke earlier. I cannot set this out for more than a year. It has to be a year away. So I'm just gonna say November 1st, 2022. So basically you have to do this year by year. So now I'll click on publish. All right, so that's done. The only thing left to do now is wait 5 days for our postcard so we can finish this up. It's been 1 week. Okay, so I've got my postcard in the mail and it's told me I need to go to google.com/verify my business, which is where we're at right now. And I will also say, if a week has gone by and you still haven't gotten your postcard, you may need to also come back to this page again. It's google.com/verify my business. And then in that case, you just click on mail again. But in our case, we have it. So I'm just going to type in the 5-digit code we have here and then click on verify. Cool, so now it says that it was accepted. It may take a few minutes to verify completely. I'm just going to click on next. And I'm just going to click on skip here, skip on advertising. And now we can go back to our profile by clicking on continue to finish up any edits that we weren't able to do before. And again, everything lives over here on the left. So if you want to add more photos, you just click on photos and you would add those here. Services, same thing. Everything is pretty much the same as it was before. Now we just have more things that we're able to do because we are in fact verified. So, but what if you're watching this video because you already had a Google My Business listing, but you just need to know the new way to go in and edit your details? The way you do that, it's really easy. You're just going to do it from a simple Google search. So you can either type in the name of your business exactly as it appears, exactly as you typed it in to begin with. In my case, that would be Black Box Photo Booth Rental, or you can just type in my business. And then as long as you're signed in to the same Google account that you set it up with, this little box should appear right here. And then I can click on View Profile. And then we've got all these options here. So we can create an ad. We can basically add questions and answers right here. Or we can add an update or an offer. Remember how we have this offer down here? That's how that shows up. Right down here. You can add another post by clicking right here. So there's many ways of doing all this. Let's just pop through these. So we got see call history to get your first reviews. So that's an interesting one. Turn on messaging. That way people can actually message you from your listing directly. Or if you want to control everything else, you're just going to click on edit profile. From here, we can edit our business information, including contact, location, hours, and more. And we can add all of these other things in here just by Googling my business. Now, if you're really serious about dominating the search results in your category, this is going to be the perfect pairing with your new Google Business Profile, because there's stuff you need to do on your website too if you want to be found in local searches. So just click right here to see my proven blueprint for the perfect local SEO page. So when you get this right and you get your Google Business Profile all set up, this is how you can wind up in that Google Map 3-pack, which is exactly where you want to be, right? So click right here and I'll show you everything you need.